It's true, we are optimists. Julia said that, Alex said that, and my feeling is, if our best days are behind us, why go forward? So I think you'll find that as a theme throughout at the Oxford Club. But I'm also a realist, which brings us to our next speaker, Rich Checkan and Brian with Asset Strategies International. Sure, there's investing in gold stocks and mining companies and things like that, and you're going to hear a lot about that, and that's certainly an important part of your portfolio. But for me, when I thought about buying gold and silver bullion, I thought of that as not necessarily an investment, but more of an insurance policy. If it really does hit the fan, what is a farmer going to trade me for, say, a bushel of corn? Guns, whatever. Silver bullion, which has a real value in the markets, or gold. So I thought, why not take a portion of my portfolio and buy some gold and silver, and that way it's there, it's my little insurance policy, and I'll just pass it on to my children, and hopefully they'll pass it on to theirs. So it's something that's sort of buy and hold forever. Anyway, our next speaker, Rich Checkan with Asset Strategies International, he's sort of my gold and silver bullion go-to guy. Rich, a graduate of West Point, who looks like he's about to leave the room. Anyway, Rich, thank you for your service. Everything okay over there? That's up here on the stadium, on the podium. Yeah, we're good. Rich and Brian with Asset Strategies International, longtime friends of the Oxford Club. Any of you ever done business with Rich before with Asset Strategies? Okay, good. Yeah, they've been around for a long time. Good friends of the Oxford Club. Please welcome Rich and Brian from Asset Strategies International.
George, and thank you all very much for coming to beautiful San Diego. I know you didn't come to see us, you came to see San Diego. Unfortunately, the weather will get better from what I understand going forward. I love following Alex, and we've been at every investment news since the start. The very first one my Uncle Michael spoke at in Annapolis. It was a chapter meeting years and years ago, and we've been at every one. And I love following Alex because he is such an optimist. And everybody feels that because we're in the business we're in, we have to be negative. The sky is falling, it's always cloudy and raining. It's not the case. I'm an eternal optimist, and for those times when optimism is wrong, which I hope are very rare, I have some gold as protection and wealth insurance. So you can be an optimist and still be a believer in gold and what it does for your portfolio. What we could talk about today is the best performing asset of the 21st century. Okay, and if I can figure out how to get forward, the big green arrow. The answer, I think, is going to surprise you. And Brian will get into more of this in the presentation, but I want to talk a little bit about who we are, if this will go forward. There we go. I think most of you know us because we've been around for so long here, especially with the Oxford Club, and thank you, Julia, and your fantastic team for allowing us to participate year after year. We find joy in helping people protect themselves for the future. So we were founded 40 years ago, the last time inflation was as horrible as it is right now. Okay, that's when we started in business. We've been working with the Oxford Club for, their life, basically. We've got a lot of innovation, but the reason I've got Brian here speaking today is because of the customer service aspect. Brian joined us about 5 years ago. Many of you may have met him back in St. Pete 5 years ago or spoke to him on the phone since. Brian came to ASI with background in a similar type small family boutique business. And he embraced what we deliver to people, and he is a firm believer in customer service. And that's why, although he may not be blood, he is absolute family. And I want you to give a warm welcome to Brian, because for the first time in 20 years, I'm not going to talk to you for 20, 30 minutes today. Brian will, and he's going to do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're here to talk about the best investment this century. Oops. Is it Bitcoin? No. Sorry, speculation. Bitcoin's 13 years old. It's like a teenager, still trying to figure out what it wants to be. right? So it is a speculation. We only really consider stable, proven, mature asset classes. As Alex had mentioned before, we saw it at 60,000 last year, down to 38,000 right now. Stocks. The numbers, as you'll see, will suggest otherwise. And the mainstream media would give you that impression. Now, obviously, this is where you're going to typically make your money, in the stock market. Now, here's a chart of the Dow Jones Industrial, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ without dividends. So you can see they're all just around 180 to 200% over that time period. Now, maybe you might think it's silver. Close but no cigar. Now, silver has done very well. It achieved incredible highs back in 2000, where it got up to $50 an ounce, but then steeply corrected in 2015 and dropped down to $13.83 an ounce. Here's a chart showing you just how silver has done over that time. But here's the answer: gold. Bingo. Now here's how everything stacked up when you look at the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, silver, and gold. From January 1st, 2000 until April 25th of 2022. Gold is up 558.4%. Silver following behind at 344, and as you can see, the three major indices behind that. So again, it shows you this century, silver, and most specifically gold, is what has performed the best during the 21st century. Now, why gold? Gold has kept up with the money supply. As politicians spend and create money out of thin air, gold has followed suit with it. So now you have more dollars chasing fewer goods, and that's where, because gold is measured in fiat currency, it will continue to rise in value as there's more money printed out there. Fixed income. Pay close attention. So gold's not going to get you interest. It's not going to get you dividends, but it is going to give you this outperformance. Don't be fooled by asset class comparisons prior to 1971. Remember that gold was at a fixed price before 1971. So it wasn't until then that it was allowed to flow freely. And since it has been allowed to flow freely, it has outperformed. Now, people that are on fixed income, you have to worry about inflation, right? As things start to cost more, what's going to happen to your portfolio? And that's where you can protect yourself with gold. Broken measuring sticks. We've got mismanaged fiat currency, unbridled spending, anemic revenues, skyrocketing debt, and monetary expansion. Now, the war in Ukraine, obviously we feel like we need to be involved, we need to help out, but you got to look at the facts. We just found $800 million last week to help out the effort in Ukraine. Where did that money come from? And who's paying that bill? Now, in Alex's presentation, he had talked about inflation hitting 40-year highs, and it's a real problem. And for 3 months in a row, we've been anywhere from 7.5% to 8.5%. Now, Jerome Powell has said it was transitory a while ago, and that was before they started raising interest rates. Now, you tell me, if interest rates are going to be raised a quarter point several times over the year, what's that going to do when inflation is running 7.5% to 8.5%? He talked about negative interest rates. that's what you're dealing with. So it was Volcker who raised interest rates so high to combat inflation, which is what you need to do, but it triggered a recession. We feel that inflation is long-term. It hasn't peaked yet. The CPI index for March was up 1.2%, and over the last 12 months has been up 8.5%. Gas, shelter, food, all up. The PPI, the producer index, up 1.4% in March and 11.2% for the year. And we don't think that's done. You're going to continue to see costs go up for those producers, and what's going to happen? They're going to pass that down to the consumer. So you and I are going to pay for that. Actions to take. As Julia had mentioned, this is about preserve and protect. Right? It's all about preserving and protecting what you've worked very hard to earn your whole life. And that's what gold is about. This is your insurance plan to preserve and protect for you and for your family or your heirs. So one of the things that we like to do is talk to people, figure out what your goals and your objectives are, and we can help you establish a plan and buy the dips. Like Alex had mentioned about catching a falling knife, there are opportunities here. There are a lot of folks that are always looking for the price to go up before they start buying. But you really have to embrace the dips. You have to embrace those opportunities. And every time it dips, it's setting a new higher low before it goes back up. We have a free newsletter and alert service, free consultations. Also, we've got a 1-ounce Silver Eagle that's free with any qualifying purchase. And we've also got a raffle where we are going to raffle off a 1/10 ounce coin, Gold American Eagle. Just come by the booth and we can scan your badge and get you entered for that. Now, you can see Michael Checkan, Chairman and CEO of the company, and Rich and myself. We're all happy to help you guys out. You can always contact us. We've got a general email at the bottom, infoasi@assetstrategies.com. We've been in the business, like Rich said, for 40 years. And we really do truly enjoy helping people out with preserving what's theirs. And we'll continue to do so. That's it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.